Hi, and welcome to the InPowered Webinar Series. My name is Sharon Lee, and I'm with Pinnacle Strategic Advisors, and I am thrilled today to have Chris Tarver, who is the CEO and founder of Camp Amplify, with me today. So, Chris, hi, how are you?
Good morning, Sharon. Thank you so much for having me. It is a beautiful day, and even better that I get a chance to spend time with you. Thank you.
Oh, well, very welcome. I'm so excited about today. And I have to say, I'm so excited about your mission and what you're doing. So I'm really, thrilled to be able to kind of give a mouthpiece to it and make sure that everybody out there knows what's going on with Camp Amplify. So why don't you start by just saying a little bit about what it is?
Amen. And that will be a blessing. Thank you. 8 years ago, 9 years ago now, we had met a camp that served kids and learned their model and what they do. And so, in essence, what we do is we host kids from homeless shelters, foster children, battered women's shelters, boys and girls clubs, even schools and churches and other organizations that are serving poor children. Underserved children is the buzz term that we're supposed to use, but poor children. And they get to go to week-long overnight summer camps. Every child is 100% scholarship. The reason we do that is we found, and we continue to get this reinforced, is these children do not have an opportunity to do this. And without someone like us providing this and putting it on, they would never get to experience what you and I grew up calling sleepaway camp.
Right, right. Well, and my kids are older than the kids that you're serving right now, but my just thinking through when they were little, and that was like a second Christmas, the fact that they would be going off, and I'm over here in my mama heart going, hold on a second, they're going to be gone for all this time, and it's going by like a flash for them because they're having so much fun and there's so much jam packed into each day, and they're just it's just special. It's just
Yes.
absolutely special.
And
So back up go ahead.
go ahead. And there's power in there's a lot of places that offer day camps or do day camps, and those
Right.
are fun and neat. But
Mhm.
getting the kids we serve out of their environment for 5 days, even if it was just a couple of days, it's impactful. But we do it for 4 nights and 5 days, getting them out of that environment, getting them away from negative reinforcements.
Right.
And we'll talk about screen time and all those kind of things and different stuff. But many of these kids are continuing to have sewn into them. You can't. You're not there.
Mhm.
We don't do that. You can't do that. Your skin color won't allow you to do that. Your gender won't allow you to do that. And we share what God says about them, which is completely different than all that. So we reinforce things of you are made perfectly and wonderfully exactly like you are, that God wants to use you in a wonderful, amazing. So we take 5 days in sewing that into them.
Oh, that is so fantastic. And so back up and talk about where this idea came from. I know that there is another camp that you've kind of modeled after, but like
Mm-hmm.
your vision for this and how long it's been going on and how's it going?
Yes, thank you. So 8 years ago, we had our very first camp. We had 20 campers total. 16 of them came from one organization. And until that organization showed up, I wasn't sure we were going to have camp for more than 4 kids. And one of
Okay.
those 4 kids was a missionary's family that were home from China, and they were Chinese, and they were China missionaries, Baptist missionaries. They had reached out to us through social media and said, do you have any space for our kids to come? And we said, yes, come on. The missionary's son asked Jesus into his heart at Camp Amplify. God
Nice.
brought him all the way from China to meet Jesus at a camp in the mountains of East Tennessee. Oh,
Oh, that's powerful. That is powerful. Oh my gosh. But so did you just wake up one morning and say, this is what we need to do? Or Is this something that you've been thinking about for a long time and you finally acted on it, or where did it all start?
Lisa and I grew up kind of going to camps. Lisa went to church camps every summer, like many of us did growing up. She went to church camps every summer, knew the power of that, worked at the church camps. I started working as a chaplain with the largest high school here in Georgia, and we got to go to FCA camps, and I could see the power of those FCA camps. And it was just 2 nights, getting the kids away and the opportunity to grow together and things like that. So we could see the power of what was going on and knew that was something we were feeling called to and led to. Then we met the people that are mentors. They have a camp outside of Macon with the same model, and they have about a 10-year head start on us. And they shared with us what they do, how they do it, who they reach out to. They continue to mentor us and tell us all about it. Well, I met the founder. He shared what they did. My heart nearly jumped out of my chest. I raced back home to tell Lisa. I was all excited about it. And my wife went, "That's good." Because she didn't see the vision, the excitement, what it could be, and all that. She was seeing the work that it was going to require. And she couldn't understand how in the world God would call two people in their 50s at that time to do something that was going to require so much energy and so much work.
Well, if Lisa is anything, she's a smart cookie for sure. So, she keeps you grounded, which is fantastic. But I'm glad that you didn't hold back. You felt like this is your vision and you were going to find a way to do it. And you've been plugging away at this for a good while.
Yeah, Sharon, literally, we started with absolutely nothing. We had to raise the money to pay someone to file our IRS documents. We didn't even have enough money to do it. So the people donating to us couldn't get a tax donation because we weren't 501c3 approved at that time. But they believed in what we were. That's where we started. And have gone along, and it's grown, and we've been more and more blessed, and just the stories of the kids that we're getting to serve and the things that happen. We'll share more about that later, but just the impact of what we're able to see is what blesses us.
So that's a good segue moment. So let's talk a little bit about some of the other things that have to come to fall into place in order for camp to happen, right? So let's talk about the counselors. So you
Yes.
have to attract counselors and all that. Talk a little bit about that group.
Yes. So just as an example, our first week of camp last summer, we had 33 campers, but we had 75 people there total to be able to put on camp for 33 kids. And one of it is we use counselors that are mostly high school and college age. We've had counselors in their 50s. We're not opposed to whoever wants to come and who God sends us. But most of them are high school and college age because it requires a lot of energy. We have long days that start early and go late. But we have a 1-to-3 ratio with the kids. And so each counselor, we have a counselor in training, and 6 campers make up what we call a family or a cabin. And the reason we do that is we don't want the counselors overwhelmed and they have a terrible experience. Now they don't want to come back. Or we don't want the kids, we don't want 100-to-1 ratio, and all the counselors do is run around and chase kids, and they never get to actually get to know any of them. And the kids don't enjoy that either. So we intentionally keep that ratio small. We have to have camp nurses that come and serve with us. We have to have staff to serve the food. Some of the camps we have to have staff that cooks the food. So it all has to be prepared and put together. And we have activities directors, we have camp directors, we have it's a lot to put this on. It's certainly worth it, but it's a lot. And Sharon, goodness gracious, every summer it costs more money. Everything keeps more expensive.
Well, absolutely. And your days for these children are jam packed. And so, and by the way, I know that you've got your girls and your boys, and you've got the female counselors and all that, and they all stay separated, and you can talk a little bit about that. But I would love for you to just give an example of a one day in the life of all the things that those campers might experience.
One day when we're at camp in Tennessee, we get to take the kids to Dollywood. And what a wonderful blessing they have been. We met with them years ago, And they treated Lisa and I like we were special, like we were important. They brought us to the park. They gave us tickets, took us up to their boardroom. We met at this great big conference table, and I spilled my heart about what we're doing and what we want to do. And I'm hoping Dolly Parton is writing us a check, is what I'm hoping for. And this
Right.
lady said, have you thought about bringing them to the park? We would like to host them. And so from then on, we've been able to bring the kids, the camper, we bring extra adults and all the people that we need to Dollywood, and we get to stay there as long as we want to. It's typically 6 hours. We're tired after that. But it's 6 hours. We get to take kids to Dollywood. But a typical day is we start at about 7:30. We do breakfast. We do a rally right after breakfast. Then we do crafts and we do some outdoor things like horseback riding. We do llamas and alpacas, fun things like that. And then we do lunch. And then the counselor's favorite time of the day, Sharon, is called FOB. And that stands for flat on bunk. And the counselor loves that time. And I have other camps say, oh, wait, you make these kids take a nap? No, they just have to go get on their bunk. And they can read, they can do what they want, that they just go get on their bunk. Well, the first day is a little more difficult than the other days, but Wednesday and Thursday of that week, or the third and fourth day, they're tired and they sleep. And for the first time ever, Sharon, in our camper surveys, we do surveys with the campers, ask them their favorite parts. About a third of the campers said their favorite part was FOB. Imagine going to a camp filled with horseback ridings, pools, water adventures, all the things that we do. And their favorite part was flat on bunk. And we talked to some children, mental health professionals, and they said there's only one reason that would happen, and it's because they're not getting enough rest at home. So imagine, Sharon, that we can put on something that makes them feel safe enough that they can actually rest and feel watched over and loved and cared for.
I have to wonder if another thing that's playing into that is one of your core values. I don't know if it's a value, but something that you supply is food. Maybe their tummies are full. So talk a little bit about that element and why that's so important. Because the first time you said that, I'm like, you're talking about alpacas and Kona ice, like food, really? And it didn't, I don't know, that just didn't weigh in my brain, right? And so then you explained it.
And so we have actually 4 F's of camp: faith, family, food, and fun. And the faith part is easy. We share our faith while the kids are at camp. The family part is these kids don't have structured families. Almost 100% of these kids do not know what a real family looks like. So we want them to come in and experience what family is like. And the food part came because after we started having camps, we realized how important food was. If you're food insecure, if you're not sure you're eating the next day, food is really important. So we found kids, the snacks we give out, will hoard them in their pillowcases. And we think they're hoarding them to sell them, or they're, you know what I mean, or something else. They're taking them home. They're taking them home because their siblings, their little brothers and sisters, don't get snacks like the quality of what we give out, and they wanted them to have some too. We had 2 little boys that kept going back and getting more food at the second year we had camp, and I finally stopped them. And the partner that brought them said, "Mr. Chris, can I talk to you?" And I said, "Yes, ma'am." And she said, "These 2 little boys have never seen this much food, so they don't know how to act when it's all you can eat." And she said they're eating today because they don't know they get to eat tomorrow.
And so it's truly, it's truly just life-changing for them. I mean, that's amazing. And it truly is all you can eat. You're not going to stop them. If they still want food, they can, as many times as they want to go back, right?
We have never, ever, ever run out of food. Ever. God provides. We've never run out of food.
Oh, that is fantastic. Well, so piggybacking on a day in the life, if you will.
I'm sorry. Yes. So I didn't get very far. So we went right after lunch is flat on bunk. And then after that, we do water time. So we're in pools, we're in lakes, we're doing water activities. We're doing, because it's hot in the summertime in the afternoon. And we get them good and wet and tired and all of that. Then we come back, they go back to their cabins, they clean up, we have dinner. We do another rally after that. Then after that rally, the first 2 nights we go back out and do something else, because we're trying to squeeze that last little bit of energy out of them so that when they go to bed, they want to sleep and they don't want to be
Right.
bouncing off cabin walls.
Well, so talk about some of the themes that you've had throughout the years, because these are a lot of fun. And I would also think that these verses and these other, I mean, that helps to make them so memorable and top of mind when they go back.
Yes, thank you. And so 2 years ago, we did a Christmas theme. And the reason we did that, we found out after several years when we share stories of Moses or David and Goliath or Job or any of these people that with us in backgrounds of church would immediately recognize it's they have no clue. It's complete blank stare. They have no clue what you're talking about, because these aren't what we would call church kids.
Mm-hmm.
But their parents aren't church kids.
Yeah.
Most of the kids that we serve, it's not all of them, most of the kids that we serve are either with a foster family or they're being raised by their grandmother. There are no males around to say anything good, bad, or indifferent to them. And some of the most popular people we have at camp are our male counselors, because they never see high quality men, if you will. And it gives them something to look at and say, you know what, I want to be like that. I don't want to be like what I've been seeing. So we did Christmas 2 years ago. This next year, we're going to do Psalm 23. The 23rd Psalm's only 6 verses. And because it talks about sheep and shepherds, and so we're going to dive into that. We're going to have fun, and we're really going to dive into that. So we do a theme like that. I am wonderfully and perfectly made. I did all kinds of different themes each year that we go through, that we just try to sew into them.
I think you said this last year was superheroes, right?
Yes, it was. Thank you. Yes. So we did heroes of the faith, heroes of the Bible, but tied that to Marvel characters like Captain America and Black Panther, and they had a lot of fun doing that. When they arrived, we had on masks and capes, and it was, it wasn't anything fancy. It was, dollar store masks and capes, but we had the most fun and the kids loved it. The kids absolutely loved it.
Oh, that is so much fun. Well, so we were talking about counselors, and you quickly mentioned other volunteers, and like the camp to, I would guess you could call that staff or whatever ratio, is really in line. But so you mentioned nurses. What are some of the other kind of volunteer positions that people might be able to take?
So last year, both our nurses, there was actually 3. There's our mother and daughter did it the second week. The first week, the lady that did it, none of them would let us pay them. It was all volunteer. But we have compensated them in the past, and we're willing to do that. We budget for that. But we also need activities directors, which is usually a one person that helps to set up the activities in advance before everybody gets out there and plans it, organizes it, things like that. Right. For our first week in Tennessee, again this year, the camp we're leasing space from does not provide kitchen staff. They have a full commercial kitchen, so all of our food must be prepared and be served. And so we are looking at bringing in a caterer. They have local groups, local caterers, restaurants and stuff that have worked with them in the past that they've given us a list of. So we're looking at using a caterer or bringing in a chef, or so any of those kind of things that are all wonderfully helpful, and to help serve the food. We also learned, Sharon, that we need to control portions as the kids go
right
through the line. And once we have our own space, we lease space from existing camps now. And we have prayed and looked for our own space this whole time. We're hoping and believing that God is leading us to the right one that He wants us to be at. When we have our own space, we're going to serve on round tables, and it will be served family style. You're not going through a line anymore and having something dumped on a plate. So what that makes them do, Sharon, is they have to take a portion and share. And it goes around the table, and it makes you engage with everyone at the table, but you also see there's enough food. If there's more, and the counselors are the ones who serve it. the counselors bring it out and serve the kids. And so
Mm.
they get to see what a family looks like when they eat together and what meals look like when they eat together. That's our vision. We want to be intentional about every single minute, every single song, every single thing we say to them is all the voice of truth and lifting them up on who God says they are.
Oh, that made me realize that speaking of volunteers, so you also have worship leaders that are
Yes.
bringing musical. So are they,
Thank you.
are so where did they get the song tie into the theme? How does that work? Is that something that you work with them on, or?
Yes, yes. So it's a little bit of a creative balance. Is I'm hiring somebody to do that. I need to let them do it, but I also have an idea of what I want done.
Right, right.
And the way we wanted it. And so there's give and take both ways. And I try. I am terrible at I don't like being micromanaged, and I don't like micromanaging. So I'm trying to be very careful about how I tread there. But yes, they do all that. They practice everything. They bring all the equipment. They show up. We have a media team, Sharon, that shows up and does all our pictures and videos, and it's called Slightly Gigantic Media.
Hmm.
When we started with them, they were so small they didn't have a bank account. Now,
Yet they were slightly gigantic.
yes,
That's
yes, yes.
ironic.
Now they're putting on full-length feature films being showed in movie theaters.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yes, yes,
Love it.
yes. Wonderful guys, love on us. And I told them we were talking at last summer, and they said, "Y'all are still the only camp we've ever done, and that we will ever do. We like y'all that much. We believe in what you're doing, and we want to come here and do this with you."
Well, I can completely understand that for sure. So you've got musical folks, you've got people that come in and help with like crafts, and you've got people that are um, actually, you mentioned the Jackson County Sheriff has come and spoken. So you have some
Yes,
people that aren't technically volunteers, but will come in and share their stories or maybe their
yes.
testimony.
Yes, yes, and we try to engage local people to be able to do those things like that. So will bring in different speakers, like you said. We bring in the worship leaders. We have an audio visual person that comes, and again, they set up all the equipment. All we're doing is showing up, and they make sure everything runs like it's supposed to. So it's we're managing again. You're managing 75 people, all of
Right.
which are staying away from home. Many of whom don't even know each other. So you can imagine there's a lot to keep up with and manage at these weeks of camps. And I had somebody ask if you wanted to do more weeks. Absolutely, we do. Absolutely,
Right.
we do. When we have our own space, we want to do it all summer.
Mhm.
But
Well, and that is a perfect segue into another bucket that goes into Camp Amplify, and that is donations. You
yes,
are a nonprofit, and donations are the how you get to run these camps and bring all of this together. So, talk a little bit about that.
yes. So right now, the way we do camp is we rent a U-Haul van. Lisa and I load it up with everything we need for camp, drive it to the camp, unload it, set everything up for the week that needs to be done. We do camp for the whole week. Then we load it, we take it back down, load it back up, drive it back home, and store it again until the next camp. And I'll be honest, the older I get, the harder that gets. And so we're really wanting to find our own space one day. But yes, everything is done through donations. And I have people ask, Chris, do you get big grants and things like that? We get a grant from Jackson EMC that is a wonderful blessing. We get some other grants that come from Rotaries and things like that, but none of those are big. Most of our donations are $100 and $200 at a time.
Mhm.
And then a lot of in-kind donations. We have people donate snacks. Last year, Little Debbie donated snacks for camp, and we all like Little Debbie's. And we have Kona Ice has come and not let us pay them and donated their services and different things like that. We have a wish list on Amazon that people can go to under Camp Amplify, and we keep items on there we need. And it may be something as simple as sunscreen, or it may be bug spray, or it may be different things like that that you need for camp. So we try to keep those things on there too.
So somebody could donate on a regular basis. So,
Yes,
and then, or they can donate on a one-time basis or something along those lines. And you can set
yes.
all of that up through your website, right?
Yes, all of that is on the website, campamplify.org. And so, and there's 5 different giving platforms plus the Amazon wish list. So we've tried to grow it to it's just as convenient as we could possibly make it for people to want to be involved. And people, again, they want to may want to make in-kind donations. We have one wonderful couple that are friends of ours, Marty and Lynn, who you know, that come up for a week of camp and stay with us the whole week. And they do things as simple as picking up the chairs after we eat and mopping the floors and putting the chairs back down. I mean, just those, just around, help watch kids when we swim. And again, most of these kids can't swim.
Hmm. Hmm. Don't
We
even think
we
about that.
have we have in-kind donations from the YMCA. They bring staff to teach water
Mm.
survival to these kids. We don't do swim lessons. We do water survival. If you fall in, this is how. Just a wonderful blessing to be able to teach these kids that.
And you also have a couple of fundraisers that you do throughout the year. So why don't
Yes.
you talk about some of those and one that might be coming up?
September 25th at Top Golf in Buford. We need golfers. We have done really well with sponsors this year. Wonderfully blessed there, but we don't have very many golfers. We got spaces for 72, and we don't have near that many. So we
Okay.
would love to have people come play golf at Top Golf. The food is included. Again, you can do all the registration on our website, campamplify.org, and that's Thursday evening, September 25th. We've done a yearly golf tournament several years in a row, but they take all day and they're at a
Right.
golf course. And this takes 3 hours and you can bring your spouse. And so we thought that it would just be, and everybody we talked about said, oh, this is going to be fun. This is going to be fun. This is going. So we're very excited about it. We're just ready to get, and a lot of golfers don't sign up to the last minute, but, but we're very excited about it. It's Thursday, September 25th.
And then you have a spring fundraiser
Yes.
as well each year, right?
Yes. So in April, I believe it's the 19th. I can try to look it up. But coming up in April, we do our annual fundraiser, and that will be at the Brazelton Civic Center. And we're very excited about that. And we're putting together everything that we need to do that. But we're very excited about it. We're going to have food catered in. It's going to be dinner. And we're really looking forward to being able to share what we do. And I had one of our board members told me recently that, Chris, I met you, I knew you, I heard you talk about camp. He said, but until I came to your fundraiser and I saw the videos and I heard people talk about it and I heard the testimonies, I didn't get it. I didn't
Right.
understand it. I just thought you were a guy that had a camp and you were passionate about it. I didn't understand what it is that you do.
Right.
And when you come to these, we show videos and we have camper testimonies and we have counselor testimonies and we have partner testimonies about the effects of what camp's doing for kids.
Well, and you also have entertainment as well, right?
Yes. So we've had a speaker every year, and so we're still working on our speaker. We're going to have our worship leader right now. That was our worship leader for camp last year. We're going to have her come and share her story and play some and be some entertainment. And so we're really, it's going to be a fun evening.
Okay. Okay. All right. So you've got your fundraisers and you've got your donations that people can give in different ways and all of that. So you've talked about your vision on how you got here, but let's talk about your next phase, the vision that you have for now.
Yes. So we are embarking on a $5 million capital campaign. We've gotten everything together. We're beginning our meetings and things like that. I've got one more meeting next week with somebody that's an advisor with us. But we are trying to acquire property in the mountains of East Tennessee. We already have we don't have the property under contract, but we have an agreement with them. They know we want to get it's still on the market, but they know we want to buy it. They've discounted it for us. I think they will discount it some more. I'm trying to talk them into donating it. I haven't got there yet. But we want to purchase that property and then build it out. It has some things on it we can use day one. So if we were to get it this fall or winter, we could have camp at it this next year. We would need to be creative in how we do it, but we could start hosting kids and families and stuff like that there immediately. And we're very excited about it. Beautiful, 80 acres, beautiful piece of property. But we've got a big vision about how we want to build it out, and we host kids. And Sharon, our vision is we want to serve 1,000 kids a year just as fast as we possibly can. And once we do that, then we want to serve 1,500. Then we want to serve 2,000. Because Sharon, we can look at the foster kids, we can look at the poverty rates, we can look, all of that continues to rise, and the need for kids to get away to camp, to get off their phones, to get away from their screens. We're reading study after study after study that screen time is literally reshaping brains of children, and so we don't allow screens, we don't allow phones, we don't allow any of that while we're at camp. We're very excited about the opportunities and how many kids could be served.
Well, and this doesn't have to just be summer either. If you actually had roots in a community, you could run camps all summer. But what are some other opportunities that you've got beyond that?
So if you have your own place, when schools are out for fall break, you could host kids and it doesn't have to be all week. What if you did 2 nights and 3 days? And what if you did some weekends? What if you did, when you and I were growing up, they called lock-ins. What if you or disciple now weekends? And I think even that term may have gone out of use, but you do weekends like that. So we could do fall, we could do Christmas camps. What could you do the week between Christmas and New Year's to love on some kids and get them out of the house? And then in spring, during spring break, what if you could get some wonderful kids? So we've got big ideas of being able to use it with kids. And then, Sharon, we want it to be a retreat business. So particularly for our founders and our investors and people that believe in us, and this is going to be their own personal timeshare, if you will, that they can come use anytime they want to do a getaway, anytime they want to host a wedding for their family, any of those kind of things. We want them to have use of the camp and for it to be used all year long.
So that was something I thought was so pivotal in my head, that yes, you're doing a capital campaign to get your location. But beyond that, your vision is for this to be self-sustaining. So you don't have to continue to have your hands out on over and over and over again. Obviously, people can help with supplies and the ongoing running of it. But I mean, you're not going to be under this capital campaign push forever.
Correct. We want to do it once and be done. And so, there would be some ongoing expenses, obviously, because you're running something and things like that. But we really want to do it once and be done and have people be able to use it. We want to use 24/7. We want somebody there all the time using it, taking advantage of it, enjoying it, being loved on, have the aroma of Jesus come from us and everything we do. As soon as they get there, we want them to take a deep breath and realize they've arrived, and it's time for me to relax.
Well, I love it. I love the vision of where it started, and the fact that you didn't just stagnate there and say, okay, this is something that I felt called to do and check the box, I did it. It is something that you just continually are building and improving, and and somehow finding more and more energy to keep it going. So kudos.
Sharon, we believe in this so much. A friend of mine works for the Secret Service, and I asked him if I could meet with the president to tell him about it. He told me no, I can't. But that's how much I believe in what we're doing, that I'll tell the president of the United States about it if he'll give me 5 minutes.
Maybe somebody will send him our little webinar and he'll hear about it somehow. So speaking of that, 2 things that I'd love to close with. Number one, if somebody isn't sure whether they want to donate, or they just want to learn a little bit more, they can get on an email list, right? So that you can let them know that this is coming up and this is next, and that's right. So that's one.
Yes. Yep. And again, through our contact page on the website, or they can email me, chris@campamplify.org, or anybody can text me, message me anytime they want to. My cell phone number is 770-480-5910. And it may be somebody, Sharon, that has 50 years experience in running camps. And they may reach out and say, dude, I can help you. You ain't doing it the right way. So we're open to wherever God leads and whoever would like to come alongside us and be helpful. We're very open to that.
That's right. Just get the conversation started, and then you
Yes.
figure out kind of what the fit is. So,
Yes.
well, I am so thrilled that you were here today and you were able to share your story, and hopefully we will broadcast this message because everybody needs to know about Camp Amplify. It is
Amen.
just such a fantastic organization, and seeing those faces, those smiles, and the hugs and the tears when they're leaving that are just this is this, in my opinion, is changing patterns. It's you're not going to continue in that same cycle anymore.
Two quick stories. One, the first year we had camp on Friday when the kids were leaving, Lisa and I walked out. We were doing stuff, then we walked out, and they hadn't left yet. And the kids were all standing around crying. The counselors were all standing around crying. And we're going, what's wrong? What's wrong? What happened? What happened? They don't want to leave. They don't want to leave. And the counselors didn't want them to leave. And the partner said, Chris, we can get on the road if I can get your counselors off this bus. The counselors kept running on, hugging kids, loving on kids, praying with them. It was wonderful. The other story I'll share is just this past winter, I was at a Rotary meeting, and I sat down, and there was a leadership class with local high schools there. And the young lady I sat with said, I've been to your camp. And I said, you have? And she was a senior. She's graduating senior. Well, and she said it was 7 years ago. Well, of course, one, I hadn't seen her in 7 years, and two, she's changed a little since then. And she said that was one of the greatest weeks of my life. And she talked glowingly, immediately told me about her counselor. My counselor was this, my counselor was that, my counselor did this. Oh, it was wonderful. I mean, just, and everybody at the table, she told everybody at the table that we were sitting with, oh, it was wonderful. His campus, blah, blah. Well, about 2 months later, I got to meet her mom and dad at another event. And her dad grabbed me and squeezed me and pulled me in tight and said, thank you for what you did. My daughter is now off to college. What you sown into her in just 1 week made a difference in her life and our lives. And he just kept saying, thank you, thank you, thank you.
And just you also hear from those kids, like they're writing notes to you and all of that as well. So I mean, the impact on those individual children, you got to tell a couple more stories. I need to, because we've talked a lot about the counselors and volunteers and all the things that are going into it, but let's talk a little bit more about the kids.
One of the kids' stories that I love to tell, Sharon, is, I won't give his name, but we'll just call him D. But he had just gotten to the shelter that brought him, the homeless shelter. And poor D, needed lots of medications that he was not on. And when we did rallies, when we did meetings, he just laid on the floor on his shoulder and he would spin circles and scream and yell, and he couldn't sit still. And they sent back to the shelter and brought 2 more people to help watch him for the week. And he hit or kicked every boy in the cabin at one time. I mean, not violently, but he was aggravating. And we spend all our time saying, D, don't do this. D, don't do that. D, stop. D, don't. D, I mean, none of us were enjoying it. We couldn't imagine that he was enjoying it.
Right.
And then 2 years later, I was meeting with a partner, and I asked how he was doing, his family. She said, oh, they're doing wonderful. They are down in Columbus now. And she said, he still says it was the greatest week of his life. And all I did was yell at him.
But he knew somebody cared.
Oh,
Knew somebody cared. Somebody was willing to focus on him and try to help him. You know, those moments are huge.
and then
Well,
we
and
had
two,
a little boy 2 years ago that shortly after camp, his mom, which is his only caregiver, she passed from a massive heart attack. His dad was, I don't know, drug dealer, I don't know, something in way up north, has never had anything to do with him. The only family he had, and he asked Jesus into his heart while he was at camp. The only family he had was his mom's sister, and he went to live with her. And after a couple months of living with her, he talked her into going to church. She asked Jesus into her heart too, because of this young man. Yeah. Yeah.
So many heartwarming stories. And you were talking about these kids that they don't know the Bible stories. They don't know Jesus. They don't know the Bible itself. And so you are introducing them to something that gives them that foundation and that rock to go back to and deal with whatever their real situation is.
Yes. And we send them home with backpack full of stuff as
Hmm.
well as an adventure Bible. It's the best children's Bible we can possibly find. It's written in New International Reader's Version language, so it's simplified for them. It's full of colorful pictures and stories and things like that to engage them and get them wanting to be involved in reading that. And so, let me tell you one other quick story. Not this summer, the summer before last, we had a young man that was Hispanic. And if you looked up Hispanic boy, it had his picture. Beautiful dark hair, big brown eyes, big bright smile, tan skin, just looked like a model of a little Hispanic boy. Just as sweet and nice as he could possibly be. Never a minute's worth of trouble. Well, halfway through camp, his dad said, "Hey, I got to pick him up. We're going to court." And we said, "Sure, yeah, do what you need to do." So he picked him up, brought him back late that afternoon, and he said, "Hey, can you come talk to him? He doesn't want to stay." And we went out to talk to him, and it turns out that he crossed the border with his siblings by themselves. And his dad's a foster dad, and he was adopting the other siblings. But this young man's paperwork has not caught up with him yet, and he couldn't adopt him there.
Oof.
This is an 8-year-old little boy who all his brothers and sisters get adopted except him. And then
Oof.
his dad comes to bring him back to camp, and the little boy goes, "No, no, no, I ain't staying here. I see how this goes. I see what's going to happen. I'm going to get left. I'm not staying." And we cried so hard.
Mm.
That little boy, he has since been adopted, and he's with that family, and that family's doing extremely well. I hope they're going to come to the golf tournament. I've reached out to them through social media. But Sharon, we may get 2 days with these kids. At the most, we get 5 days with these kids. We hope they're not still in shelters. We hope they're not still in difficult situations to go to camp. So we get a short time to be able to for God to make an impact with these kids. And that's just a few of the hundreds. We've hosted 333 kids in the 8 years that we've done this.
Nice, nice. I mean, that's an impact. That's a legacy. That is amazing. And your vision for the future of expanding that and broadening it, I can't wait to talk to you in a few years to say, well, we've already doubled that, we've already tripled that, we've already quadrupled
Amen.
that, and
Amen.
exponentially more.
Amen. Amen. Yeah, 333 doing it a couple of weeks a year in the summer. Imagine if you did it all summer. Imagine if you did it all year.
Right, right. 100%, 100%.
Yes. Yep.
Well, so let's go back, because if somebody wasn't thinking about donating before, I'm thinking that maybe now they will. So one more time, what is your website and what is your email address? And we would just hope that people will reach out to you and find out
Yes.
more.
Yes, campamplify.org. It's the only campamplify.org that I don't think there's any others, so it shouldn't be too confusing, campamplify.org. And then my email address is chris@campamplify.org. And Sharon, I don't mind sharing my phone number. If somebody would like to reach out to me and just ask questions or whatever, my number is 770-480-5910.
Okay. Well, again, thank you so much for joining me here today. I love everything about Camp Amplify. I love talking about it, and I love hearing your passion for it, which is just fantastic. So you're on fire, and that is so fantastic. So I wish you nothing but the best, and I just cannot wait to see pictures of your new home when you're ready to find those roots and really create that community.
Yes, thank you, Sharon. Thank you very much. And know, please know that Lisa and I love you and your family to death, and we are blessed by you and your love, your encouragement, and your support too. Thank you.
Oh, always and forever. All right. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Take care.